That's what it is.
People to courtrooms, I got a gun pointed at your building.
Sir, what is going on?
Who the you calling sir, you stupid bitch? Where's your judge warrant at? You gonna bring that bitch out in handcuffs and I'm gonna...
Time has run out. Her body goes totally limp. While shouts of no justice are heard from the gallery, she's literally dragged out of the courtroom.
That's 180. Yeah! That's 306.
I'm working at McDonald's. Now I gotta come here and my life. You!
Melvin, stop!
I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws that stay in Nevada, this court
This is 18-year-old Penelope Soto. She's in court on a drug possession charge, a routine hearing that would soon turn into one of the most viral courtroom outbursts ever recorded.
My name is Soto. You're being charged with possession of Xanax. B-A-R-S. I don't know what that is. What is that?
Xanax bars. That's how they're referred to.
Xanax bars. All right.
It's February 2013 in Miami-Dade County, and Soto stands before Judge Jorge Rodriguez Choma. She's accused of possessing Xanax, and like many first-time offenders, she's expecting a fairly standard bond hearing. But from the very beginning, the tone of this routine hearing was way off. When the judge asks her about her assets, Soto giggles.
Soto, you working?
Yes.
How much money are you making a week, approximately?
Approximately about $200 a week.
Okay, and do you own any property of value? A house, a car, bank account, significant amounts of jewelry?
Yes.
What do you own?
I own a lot of jewelry, all right.
In between it all, Soto doesn't seem to be aware that she is in a courtroom. It is so bad that the judge asks her if she is under the influence of any drugs.
It's worth money.
Have you had any kind of drugs in the last 24 hours?
Actually, no.
Actually, no.
Judge, I'll make it easy for the court, respectfully.
The judge sets her bond at $5,000, and for a moment there, it seems like this hearing is finally over.
Count one would be 5,000 per hour cost found. Count two would be ROR.
The state is requesting ROR on count 2 through 26.
And refer to Division 51.
But then...
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Come back, ma'am. Come back. Come back.
And the judge then increases the bond from $5,000 to $10,000.
Count one would be 10,000.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios.
But now an irritated Soto flips off the judge, and the judge was obviously not amused at her actions.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios.
You can hear the reaction of others in the court.
The judge immediately calls her back again. His calm tone is gone now.
Come back again. Come back again. Bring him back again. Saying to...
Yes, I did. I'm not going to the...
I believe you... Did you say... Did you say that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh, you did say that?
I'm not
I find you in direct criminal contempt. 30 days in the county jail.
And with that, the judge finds her in direct criminal contempt of court, sentencing her to 30 days in jail. But then, the story doesn't end there. A few days later, Soto returns to court, this time sober, shaken, and remorseful. She also apologizes to the judge and her family, calling her earlier behavior irrational.
Behavior was very irrational, and I apologize not only to the court and you, but to my family.
Don't cry, just don't. Don't cry, I'm not a monster. I know, I make you laugh, but it's all right. Don't cry, I'm not a monster.
She also admits that she was under the influence of Xanax that day in the court.
So...
Let me ask you a third question. Did you use Xanax? Did you take any Xanax Sunday?
Yes, I did.
How many?
2.
2?
Judge Rodriguez Chaumont listens quietly and then accepts her apology. He revokes the 30-day sentence and reinstates her original bond. Soto later completes a court-ordered drug treatment program, and within a year, her charges are dropped. Penelope Soto thought giggling her way through court was bold, but the next defendant didn't just laugh at the judge. He talked so much that the judge literally had him gagged. This is Franklin Williams, and he is charged with aggravated robbery, and kidnapping at gunpoint in Cleveland, Ohio. The case was rather straightforward. It had all started with a string of violent crimes. Williams had held 3 people at gunpoint, robbing them. The jury was quick to find him guilty of the charges, but then when it came to sentencing, now this was when it all spiraled off. First, Mr. Williams expresses dissatisfaction with his legal counsel and claims his property was taken.
I just met this attorney the other day.
That's fine. So
here,
okay.
I came and took my cell phones yesterday, and they came and took all my property out my cell today.
Mr. Williams.
And from there, the courtroom quickly becomes a battleground of words and warnings. The judge orders silence, but Williams refuses to back down.
I'm the judge in the matter. Shut your mouth, and I'll tell you when you can talk. You got it? It's the same rules we played by while we were here in trial, every time we were here for a pretrial. So just follow the same rules. Fair enough?
The judge issues multiple warnings to Mr. Williams to remain silent, threatening that if he continues, he will be gagged.
At this point, I'm going to hear from your lawyers, and that means zip it.
But you're not letting me tell
That
you
means
what's going on.
zip it right now.
You trying to?
Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't.
No. Does the comment quit talking? Do you understand that?
Because you're trying to take my life, Judge,
no.
And you're not letting me tell you what's going on.
Take your life for what? What do you mean
It's not fair. You're trying to take my life.
What does that mean? Again, I'm going to interrupt. Mr. Williams, listen to me. If we have to, I will gag you in 1 second. So listen, you will get a chance to talk. I'm going to gag you in 1 second. So just listen to me. Zip it until I give you a chance to talk. You'll get a chance to talk. I am going to give you a chance to talk.
Suddenly, the judge cannot take it anymore, and he orders the deputies to gag Williams.
Here's what it is.
We'll go back on the record. Mr. Williams will have a chance to speak.
And I'll be honoring everything I say.
Go ahead.
How can I speak?
Williams is now forced to be quiet, while the whole courtroom freezes, staring at a scene few have ever seen. But that is not all this ends, because soon, clips of this courtroom moment makes its way to the internet and immediately goes viral, sparking outrage and debate. Williams himself had a lot to say about the event too.
When they put the tape on my mouth, I felt so humiliated. I just felt like, wow, it's the discussion.
But the legal battle isn't over. Because of all the disruptions, the judge realizes there were mistakes in the sentencing procedure. And to make matters worse now, he's under fire for the gagging decision, facing scrutiny over whether he crossed a line. The judge also apologizes for the gag order, but stands by his reasons. In the end, Williams receives 24 years behind bars for armed robbery, kidnapping, and related charges. But his case leaves a mark, forcing every courtroom to think twice about where order ends and rights begin. And while Franklin Williams was silenced with a gag, the next courtroom meltdown didn't come from your average defendant at all. It came from a former judge who was now facing time in jail. And this is Judge Tracie Hunter, once a respected juvenile court judge in Hamilton County, Ohio, now the center of one of the most chaotic and unforgettable courtroom moments ever captured on camera. Her downfall began back in 2014 when prosecutors accused her of using her judicial power to mishandle confidential documents and backdate court records, and she did all this to protect her brother, a juvenile court employee, who was under internal investigation. But in spite of these allegations, Hunter remained defiant, and she didn't stand alone. Hunter had an army of loyal supporters, people who had marched, protested, and publicly demanded that she not be punished. Dozens of these supporters filled the courtroom, waiting for the final ruling. Some even went as far as sending threatening letters directly to the presiding judge's home to stop him from sentencing her. And Judge Patrick Dinkelacker addressed those letters head on.
Attempt was to intimidate me in any way. That has flat out failed, okay? I will never, ever, ever bow to that type of pressure, veiled threats, vicious comments, lies about me or anything else.
And then he read the ruling, his voice steady and firm.
The cost of these proceedings, number 2, you are to not violate any laws. Number 3, you are to do 6 months in the Hamilton County Justice Center, credit 1 day. Mr. or Ms. Deputy can take her away.
The sentence, 6 months in the Hamilton County Justice Center. But this courtroom drama was far, far from being over. As deputies approached to take Hunter into custody, her supporters exploded, shouting, protesting, and chanting her name across the courtroom.
Take her away.
One supporter even attempted to rush forward before being stopped immediately by deputies. Hunter herself tries to resist as first, standing rigid as officers order her to comply with the order. But then, her body becomes rigid, and now the deputies have to drag her by the arm out of the courtroom. Meanwhile, the gallery is filled with sounds of her supporters screaming in outrage as she is dragged out of the courtroom. The video spread instantly. A former judge, once robed in authority, now being physically removed from the very place she once presided over. Hunter ultimately served less than 3 months due to jail overcrowding and good behavior. But the damage was lasting. She lost her law license and later filed a federal lawsuit claiming civil rights violations and seeking damages. As of 2023, her case remains pending. Judge Tracie Hunter had an entire courtroom erupting around her, but the next man didn't need a crowd. Jacob Larson pushed one judge so far, he stepped off the bench and into the fight himself. This is Jacob Larson, standing before a Jackson County courtroom for a protection order hearing. Larson was accused of stalking a woman, showing up to her workplace uninvited, dropping off flowers she never asked for, and even posting a video online claiming the two were dating. By the time Larson walked into court, Judge John McBain was already familiar with him. This wasn't Larson's first appearance, and he had repeatedly been ordered to stay away from the victim. But Larson had his own version of reality, and he wasn't shy about sharing it.
These were like, a lot of them were like last year. Let me ask, how many of them were after, how many of them were after the day of the PPO?
22.
22. I don't post on that one. What's that? I don't post on that.
He insisted he wasn't a stalker, insisted the relationship was real, and then he turned his frustration toward the judge himself. With every word out of Larson's mouth, you could feel the judge's patience wearing thin.
I know, but it's like this fatal attraction kind of stuff that I warned you about last time. I told you to just leave her alone. She was a classmate of yours. She apparently has no interest in seeing
I want her to tell me to leave her alone.
Finally, the judge cut him off and sentenced Larson to 3 days in jail.
I told you to leave her alone. And apparently that didn't get through loud and clear. So today, you're going to jail for 3 days.
A mild punishment. But that was until Larson opened his mouth again.
And the next time you violate it, you're going to jail for... You know what? You got a bad attitude. You had a bad attitude last time you were in court. Okay?
You and her are buddy-buddy. Y'all get along. Y'all are...
45 days county jail. 93 days in the county jail. You want to go for a year? Try it right now. One more word on you, it'll be a year of county.
Over Facebook.
The sentence kept growing, climbing minute by minute as Larson kept digging the hole deeper. But the real chaos started when Judge McBain ordered the court officer to cuff him.
You're going to jail for a year in the county. 365 days county jail.
Can't do that.
Appeal it.
I will.
Good. Put your hands behind your back. Now
I'll leave you alone.
The moment the deputy reached for Larson, he went completely off, pulling, resisting, and trying to break free.
Tell me to leave you alone. Tell me right now.
Put your hands behind your back.
And that's when Judge McBain did something almost no judge ever does inside a courtroom. He stepped down from the bench, ripped off his robe, and joined the fight.
Take this right now.
The judge now steps in to help subdue the defendant.
Put it down. That's enough for you.
The judge helped wrestle Larson to the floor as deputies struggled to restrain him.
All right. I will make it 93. You can think about it. All right. Over people. You know her. So I know her.
Seconds later, Larson was pinned, cuffed, finally sentenced, and dragged out of the courtroom to begin a 3-month stay behind bars. Larson made a judge leave the bench. But the next defendant took things even further by turning a routine hearing into a full-on brawl and throwing a telephone at the judge. This is Sidney Newsome, a Mississippi man brought before the Pike County Justice Court on domestic violence charges. Presiding over the hearing that day was Southern District Judge Aubrey Rimes. And at first, the courtroom proceedings were routine, orderly, and typical for a Pike County morning. But that calm evaporated fast. When Newsome was asked to sign a few standard court documents, he hesitated, then flat out refused. What should have taken seconds turned into a loud, heated argument echoing through the courtroom. At this time, a deputy stepped in to escort him out. But the moment the officer reached for him, Newsome snapped.
First, he grabs a stack of papers from the desk.
He grabbed a stack of papers from the judge's desk and hurled them across the courtroom. Then, breaking free from the deputy's grip, he reached for a desk telephone and launched it directly at Judge Rimes. That was it. Judge Rimes had seen enough. He stepped down from the bench and grabbed Newsome himself, slamming him against the desk and holding him there until deputies rushed in. Within seconds, Newsome was restrained, dragged out of the courtroom, and the judge returned to the bench, having just gone from presiding over the case to physically enforcing order inside his own courtroom. Newsome threw paperwork and phones, but our next defendant didn't need objects because Milton Watts talked himself from one charge to almost a full year in jail. This is the courtroom of Judge Chris Green in Berea, Ohio, and the man standing before him is Milton Watts, who had just turned himself in after a warrant was issued for failing to appear on a domestic violence charge. You'd think turning himself in meant he was ready to handle business, but the second Watts walked up to the podium, hands shoved deep into his pockets. It was clear he wasn't here for accountability. He was here with an attitude. Judge Green got right to the point.
You were supposed to be here last month. You did not appear. Why weren't you here?
Watts' explanation to his absence was a shrug, and then...
I had work. My mom didn't show up. Somebody died in the family. There was no reason for me to be here.
The courtroom went quiet. Judge Green leaned forward, calm but firm.
Well, it's not an engraved invitation, son. It's a court order.
Trying to keep things moving, the judge brought up the next issue. Watts' attorney had withdrawn from the case, and the defendant needed to hire a new one.
Your attorney withdrew, so you'll have to hire an attorney?
I don't need an attorney.
Even though Watts is trying to establish that he doesn't need a lawyer, the judge presses on.
You're a lawyer?
Nope.
You want to talk about me at bond with me? What do you want to tell me?
About what?
Bond?
Don't really give a to be honest with you.
And that was the fuse, because the moment the judge mentioned bond, Watts muttered something under his breath, something you never say to a judge. Judge Green immediately does not let that slide.
That's going to cost you 30 days in the county jail for contempt. Cuff him, if you got the cuffs.
While the deputies are putting Watts in cuffs, Judge Green attempts to offer some guidance.
Can I give you a piece of advice?
What?
You can either make life easy or you can make life hard.
Watts chose the second option.
I already ruined my life.
That's 60. You want to go for 90?
Still unfazed, Watts kept running his mouth.
That's 90 more. That's 180.
And with every word he said, the sentence went up by another 30 days. By the time Watts was dragged halfway across the courtroom, he had talked himself up to 306 days, and he wasn't done.
That's 306.
I'm working at McDonald's. Now I gotta come here and my life. You.
Melvin, stop.
At this point, his mother tried to intervene and even tries to let the judge know that Watts struggles with some mental issues.
How many days you want to give me now? Are you Sir counting?
Yeah, I'm at about a year right now in contempt, so.
He's got mental problems. He's not on medication.
I don't care.
I don't give a
No, stop.
But at this junction, both the judge and Watts were too far gone to even care, and Watts definitely had no signs of stopping.
The power.
Good.
The power.
Good.
That's stupid. Melvin, stop. Stop it. You're not even getting in trouble. Melvin, listen.
Finally, more officers join in, and Watts is finally escorted out of the courtroom.
It's funny. Just let him do what you're not going to do anything. You're just causing more.
That's ignorant.
That's the way he is.
Still raging, he screamed at an unidentified woman as he was hauled away. By the end, Judge Green tallied the damage. 360 days in jail for contempt and $5,000 bond. But what was funny about this whole episode was that the original domestic violence case hadn't even been heard yet. Watts walked into court facing a single charge and left with an almost year-long sentence of his own making. But the next man learned a harsher lesson. When you curse out a judge, during sentencing, your prison time doesn't get reduced. It multiplies. This is Manson Bryant standing in a Cleveland courtroom facing a storm of charges: aggravated burglary, aggravated robbery, weapons offenses, abduction, and kidnapping. Prosecutors say he and two female accomplices crawled through the window of a trailer home in the middle of the night, held the resident at gunpoint, and robbed him. And when police finally caught up with him, they discovered something else. Bryant wasn't new to this. His criminal record stretched back years, filled with kidnapping, robbery, and other violent offenses. So when it was time for sentencing, the prosecution made one thing clear: Bryant wasn't someone who had simply made a mistake. He was a repeat offender.
When we look at recidivism factors, there's even a larger concern of what we're looking at. The defendant has a history that includes numerous juvenile adjudications going back to 1999. In 2005, we have more thefts, assault, resisting arrest, probation violation. 2006, there are more thefts. 2007, more thefts. 2008, thefts. 2009, felony receiving stolen property. 2010, and that receiving stolen property was his first prison sentence.
They recommended at least 20 years, consecutive time, mandatory post-release controls, restitution, and forfeiture of his weapons.
So based on all that, we do feel that prison is appropriate, that all prison sentences should be consecutive, and that we feel at least 20 years would be appropriate at a minimum. We would ask for the forfeiture of the pistol and the ammunition. We'd ask for restitution to Mr. Gonzalez in the amount of $1,000.
Their message to the court was unmistakable. The man needs to be off the streets for a long time. But Bryant's attorney pushed back. He argued that prison isn't only about punishment, it's also about rehabilitation.
It is not the only goal of the legal system. Rehabilitation does carry equal weight, and a sentence that would essentially prohibit Mr. Bryant from being afforded any meaningful opportunity to redeem himself and live a law-abiding life.
And according to the defense, a 20-year stretch would erase any chance Bryant might have to eventually turn his life around. He asked the judge to consider a 10-year aggregate sentence, pointing out that Bryant wasn't the principal offender in the robbery.
Would not be in line with the purposes and principles of sentencing. We are asking this court to consider a 10-year aggregate sentence.
Bryant himself addressed the court, blaming addiction, apologizing, and saying he respected Judge Lucci and would respect whatever sentence the court handed down. But after reviewing the case, Judge Lucci reached his own conclusion, and he didn't go anywhere near the defense's request.
Followed by count 1, followed by count 2, for a total of 22 years with credit for 231 days.
And that's when everything changed. The same defendant who had just spoken of remorse and respect instantly abandoned both.
A restitution.
Courtroom, your courtroom, man. You racist this. You racist this. He ain't 22. You racist ass, bitch. You ain't shit. James Sturgeon, Lethal Sturgeon told me about that bullshit.
Actually.
And Judge Lucci, calm, controlled, and completely unmoved, made a decision.
Actually, you know what? Remember when you had some remorse? Wait a minute. When I said that you had a certain amount of remorse, I was mistaken.
Then came the reconstruction of the sentence.
The court determines that maximum imprisonment is needed, so it's 11 years on count 1 and 11 years on count 3.
You ain't shit, Manson. Calm down, bro. Let me up the courtroom, man. Take him out.
Bryant's sentence jumped from 22 years to 28 years in real time, all because of his outburst.
So that's 28 years with credit for 231 days.
I don't want to hear it, man.
Bryant was dragged from the courtroom shouting while declaring his love for what seems to be his friend in the gallery.
Hey, take him out, please. Hey, take him out, please. I love you, bro. I love you, man. Don't worry. I love you, Chad.
In the end, Bryant's long history of crime earned him a long sentence, but his total disregard for the courtroom made it even longer. Bryant's outburst earned him 6 extra years, but the next defendant didn't wait for sentencing. He threatened to kill a judge long before he ever stepped foot in the courtroom. This is the courtroom of Judge Matt Foxman of Volusia County, and sitting before him today is 36-year-old Alan McCarty Jr., charged with 2 counts of corruption by threat against a public official and 2 counts of threats or extortion. McCarty from Daytona Beach didn't just make a threat against a public official. He threatened Circuit Judge Stacia Warren, who had ruled against him in a custody case, and to make sure he drove his point home, he called 911 and announced his intentions clearly.
Communications, Warhurst.
Yeah, I want to report a crime that's about to happen.
What do you mean a crime that's about to happen?
Yeah, there's about to be a crime that's going to happen if my kids don't come back to me, you stupid.
He also made it clear that he was going to the judge.
I got a gun pointed at your building.
Sir, what is going on?
Who the you calling sir, you stupid? Where's your Judge Warren at? You gonna bring that out in handcuffs and I'm gonna execute that son of a right in the street. I'm letting you know I'm gonna shoot the bitch. You gonna give me my kids?
Where are you at, sir?
I just told you I'm outside of her building waiting for her to get there in the morning. I'm gonna pop a cap in that you stupid.
Now he's standing in Judge Foxman's courtroom, and from the very beginning, McCarty is not a man showing remorse. It started from when he was asked to raise his hand and swear an oath.
No, I'm not. I'm not under oath.
All right, raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in.
I'm not under oath.
At first, the judge ignores McCarty's ramblings, but it was soon clear that he had no intention of stopping anytime soon.
You want to allow my witnesses here? You want to allow my paperwork? Y'all took all my court paperwork.
We haven't started the trial yet.
It doesn't matter. You still deny it. You want to take my kids from me and act like that? You in that?
Then, the judge tries to continue with the business of the day.
Holly, make sure you take down what I said. He was sworn in.
No, I was not sworn in.
Yes,
I've never been sworn in this court. Bring the camera back. He's making this up.
So, that being said, number one, I need to know whether or not you want to be here
trial process?
No.
All right, do you want to testify?
No, I don't. This is all being done unconstitutionally, unrightfully.
Do you want to be in the room or not?
Do you want to suck my...
I prefer not to, sir.
Well, you got a mouth for it.
No, do you want to be here or not?
Oh, who wants to sit here while you take their kids? This is a conflict of interest. Every right y'all supposedly have you violated.
But now the judge decides he should not be in the courtroom anymore, and so McCarty is led out of the courtroom by the deputies. The court proceedings continue, but McCarty's outbursts are not over yet, not by a long shot, because when the trial was over, he was found guilty, and when it came to sentencing, everything went crazy all over again.
All right, State of Florida versus Alan McCarty Jr., who is present here today on two reasons. One is to sentence on a jury verdict that had been accepted, but we're also here on an order to show cause, which I would like to address first.
Chad, the judge speaks of McCarty's previous disturbances and why he should not be held in contempt of the court.
That you're before the court, Mr. McCarty, to show cause why I should not hold you in contempt for behavior that you demonstrated during the jury trial. You the unborn out of the...
But if you were thinking McCarty would be remorseful, you would be sorely mistaken.
What a bunch of lies, you stupid piece.
Then also...
You threatened my life.
In the,
You!
This time, however, nobody was ready to listen to his ranting, and the deputies quickly drag him out of the courtroom.
Back room.
Son No, I'm not standing. I'm resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm just not standing up. I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
He is then placed in the back room with a one-way mirror while the judge goes on to give his sentence.
Adjudicate him guilty, sentence him to 15 years in Florida State Prison. As to count 2, when adjudicate him guilty, sentence him to 5 years to run consecutive to count 1.
McCarty screamed his way out of court, but the next man crossed a line almost no one ever crosses. He didn't insult the judge. He physically attacked her and paid a terrible price for it. This is 30-year-old Deobra Redden, a man charged with attempted battery with substantial bodily harm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, Redden had already been found guilty of the offense, and it was time for sentencing. But before that, the judge allows him to address the court.
I shouldn't be sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history?
He blamed his past crimes on mental health struggles. He told the judge about his new support system, a new job, and how he'd recently realized he had a lifelong issue with anger and violence. But Judge Holthus didn't soften.
I'm in a better place in my mind, my mental health. I have a support system. I just got hired as a teamster for, a union.
3 felony arrests, 9 misdemeanors, multiple domestic violence cases, battery on a protected person, robbery, attempted home invasion. Deobra's list was not looking good at all. After hearing him, Judge Holthus closed her file and made her decision.
I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
And then, in one split second, everything exploded. As soon as Redden realized he was going to prison, he snapped. He lunged not at the bailiff, not at his own attorney, but directly at Judge Holthus.
In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
When officers finally tore him off the judge, it was all a mess. Judge Holthus's clerk suffered cuts to his hands. A bailiff was left with injuries. A marshal walked away with a dislocated shoulder and a gash on his forehead. As for Judge Holthus, she was shaken, bruised, but alive. She was quickly ushered to safety. Almost a week after the attack, Judge Holthus came back to finish what she started, the original sentencing. She made one thing absolutely clear.
State of Nevada, this court does now sentence you in addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DNA fee, the $3 DNA administrative assessment fee, and $250 indigent defense fee, 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department.
That original sentence, 19 to 48 months in prison for the attempted battery case. But after attacking a judge and multiple officers, Redden now faced 13 new charges, including extortion, coercion with force, and battery on protected persons. He was held on $54,000 bail. During the trial for the attack, Judge Holthus herself took the stand as a witness, something extremely rare for a sitting judge. She described the moment Redden rushed her.
It was like a crash sound. I just remember smashing into the wall. I went down, my glasses went up, I smashed into the wall. He was on me, and then I was being pulled down.
She recounted how her law clerk dove in front of her, trying to pull Redden away while she lay helplessly pinned against the bench.
My law clerk, who was sitting next to me, who had dove almost in front of me as Mr. Redden came at me, and he was on top trying to pry the defendant off me. By this point,
in the end, the new judge delivered the final word. Redden was sentenced to 26 to 65 years in prison for the attack, on top of his original 19 to 48 months, a sentence that could stretch across 6 decades, all because he chose to attack the one person in the courtroom with the power to decide his fate. Las Vegas saw a defendant leap across a courtroom at a sitting judge. But in Kentucky, the chaos came from a place no one expected, a routine domestic hearing that turned violent in seconds. This is Melissa Hardwick, a Kentucky woman standing before the Russell and Wayne County Family Court for a domestic violence hearing filed by her ex-husband. At first, everything in the judge's chambers felt routine. Melissa's ex-husband was testifying, walking the court through the events that led him to seek a protective order. But that calm lasted for all of 10 seconds. Because right in the middle of his testimony, Melissa suddenly erupted, cutting him off.
My personal life.
The judge immediately issued a warning, a clear one.
Nothing to do with
Miss Hardwick,
no.
You will be held in contempt of this court if you become disruptive.
But Melissa didn't calm down. That was enough for the judge. She was held in contempt on the spot and sentenced to 10 days in jail. But the chaos was only just beginning. As deputies stepped forward to escort her out, Melissa made a sudden, violent move, lunging straight toward the judge's bench.
I haven't done anything to this court. I haven't done anything to him.
She'll be arrested for contempt of
the court.
It doesn't make any difference. You will serve 10 days for contempt of court. Go now.
Within seconds, the courtroom exploded into movement as officers wrestled her back, dragging her out of the courtroom while she continued fighting and screaming.
Get off of me!
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
And that outburst came with consequences. Melissa Hardwick was slapped with new criminal charges, including threats and assault on court personnel. She was sentenced to 120 days in jail for contempt, threats, and disrupting a court of law.